the actual red line, defending.
I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Like the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. Let's go to the start of these tabs. Tab police look away now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. As we know, better yet, as you know, the transfer market is alive and kicking. I still think the madness is yet to begin for all football clubs, people. This is the calm before the storm. When the bulk of these players return from pre-season, and obviously pre-season begins, you know, well, their holidays and pre-season begins, that's when things are going to ramp up. And I think there'll be several domino effects. Obviously, look at Chelsea. You can see in front of me Kai Havertz. Better yet, Arsenal are close to transfer agreement for Chelsea's Kai Havertz. You know, Chelsea have announced, you know, Kovacic basically going to City. Kai Havertz, Ornstein has dropped a bomb on us and said he's moving closer to completing a £65 million deal to Arsenal. These are the sort of moves, you know, that are going to kick the market into life. Declan Rice might have a knock-on effect of Lavia and Ward-Prowse indirectly or directly, and so on and so forth. You get the point. Let's crack on. Arsenal close to transfer agreement for Chelsea's Kai Havertz. Arsenal are close to an agreement with Chelsea to sign forward Kai Havertz for a fee in the region of 65 million quid, says David Ornstein. For a player that's made clear he wants to leave and a player with 2 years left on his deal, you know, I don't know how you feel. Let me know your thoughts. I think that's good business for Chelsea, you know, especially because when you describe Kai Havertz, I would say unfulfilled potential and inconsistency. And he's one of those footballers. It's crazy to say it about a German international, someone that's playing in the Premier League, someone that's won the Champions League. He polarizes opinions to the point where there's probably a lot of extreme opinions, probably in the Chelsea fan base, definitely with Arsenal in the fan base, as he's been discussed, and things like that. This would be Mikel Arteta's, forgive me if I'm wrong, if this does happen, his record signing or the player he spent the most money on. So he must have a degree of confidence in Kai Havertz's qualities that he'd be able to show at Arsenal wherever he plays. He'd have to learn to stay on side. He'd have to learn to be a lot more clinical. He does have versatility, probably on paper, you know, more comfortable as a false nine, probably to the right-hand side than a 10 versus the 8 role that he could take up and has played at times, really and truly. But yeah, as Ornstein has said, we're closing in on this deal, allegedly, while a deal hasn't been agreed and he's not holding a shirt and we need to temper our expectations. It seems like it's progressing. The clubs are now working to finalize the structure of the impending deal, including potential installments and add-ons. But personal terms are in place, and if all goes to plan, a medical will be scheduled ahead of a transfer being completed. The Athletic reported last week that Arsenal had made an opening proposal to recruit Havertz. Chelsea need to trim their squad, not just to offset past spending, but also to fund signings in this window. Big fan of Todd Burley acting like that. But yeah, you know, if Mason Mount goes to United, Kovacic to City, Havertz to Arsenal, a bunch of their players have gone to the Middle East. Kante's ran down his deal and gone over them sides. Hakim Ziyech, the keeper Mendy and Koulibaly are all linked with moves over there. You know, the Gallaghers, the Colwills of this world, you know, they're probably going to, Hudson-Odoi also been linked to the Middle East. These sort of players will probably move on or might move on, or their future is going to be subject to speculation. Last season, Havertz predominantly operated as a striker for Chelsea and scored 9 goals in 47 appearances across all comps. Going to need to significantly upgrade that. You know, again, you know, he's made 139 appearances for their club, scoring 32 goals and providing 15 assists following his £90 million deal. It's not really the best numbers you want to see here, but hopefully Mikel Arteta has a plan. As well as Havertz, Arsenal are working on a deal to sign West Ham United midfielder Declan Rice, a proposal worth up to 90 million, comprising of a £75 million fee and 15 million in add-ons, has been turned down by their Premier League rivals, but Arsenal are getting closer to a fee that West Ham are aiming to achieve if their captain is to depart, people. As we know, Havertz could play in several roles, people, and there is a lot to like about him. As I keep saying in all of these vids, he does make good runs. He needs to learn how to stay on side, but does make good runs arriving into the box, does have a good technical level, even though his close range finishing, if he is to play up front, needs to improve. Mikel Arteta, again, while he's not a miracle worker, you know, obviously he is refined, you know, where Emre left off with the Sakas and the Martinellis. They've dropped, well, Saka 2 seasons now, double figures in the league. Martinelli and Odegaard have dropped double figures for the first time in their Arsenal careers last season. Xhaka found his scoring boots as well. So whatever he's doing with them lot, hopefully it can correlate to Kai Havertz, because it's got to work really, especially with us being in the Champions League, especially with, most fans will give the man a chance before he plays for the club, but a lot of fans have probably made their minds up already. So it has to work, especially with being in the champs next season. And he will be one of the more experienced, youngish players, because he's only 24, but, significant wealth of experience to add into what we've got going on at Arsenal. I do like his physical qualities, and he does score a couple of headers. I don't quite think the signing of Havertz will be a direct team, but you get the point. What I would say, about Mikel Arteta, I will wait to see how this one pans out. I'm more excited about potentially signing Timber and Declan Rice, admittedly, but I'll wait till it pans out, because Arteta has made unpopular decisions, big or small. He's not always played Tierney, for example. He signed Odegaard off the back of a poor loan spell for some, really and truly. He persists with Zinchenko. He spent 50 million on Benjamin White off the back of one Premier League season. Not everybody was sold on Aaron Ramsdale, and there's probably a bunch of other opinions. Loaning out Saliba, when he might have been able to play previously. So Arteta has stuck to his guns. But, as much as Declan Rice would be the statement signing, and obviously Havertz would only probably be our most expensive signing under Mikel Arteta for a second, if the Rice still happens. It's got to work, people. This has said he can play several roles for Arsenal. The immediate thought is that it feels like a good fit. The stylish way he glides with the ball, the physical profile, the age, that all adds up, apart from one thing: where would he play? Which on paper, we'd have to see how the season pans out, because I don't see how you play in the 8 ahead of Xhaka, who's still here on paper, Odegaard in the 10 up front instead of Jesus, or on the left-hand side, whether that's Martinelli's or Saka's. I see how you tie into the squad. I see how you get game time. I see how you're a good option to potentially use and be utilized by Mikel Arteta, but we'll have to see. Arsenal see Havertz as a quality player who can play several roles within their system, and who offers different attributes to their existing forwards. He would also contribute to the club's strategy of future-proofing the squad, as he's only just turned 24. I mean, if we can get the potential out of him, then we're laughing. Apparently, he made 334 off-ball runs in the opposition's penalty area in the Premier League last season, second only to Haaland. But, where the goals are concerned, City tax or not, he's nowhere near him. But that's what I mean. There's a lot to like about him. We all know he's got a good technical level. He plays for Chelsea, plays in the top division, represents Germany. You need to have a decent level of that. Romano has said 65 million had to be, 65 million will be. Havertz and Arsenal deal is getting closer, people. We'll have to see how that develops. This article on Havertz has said, people, is really, by Sky Sports, it said he's got a mediocre scoring return of 32 goals in the 139 games. Apparently his goals per game average at Chelsea is 0.23 lower than his average of 0.31 at Leverkusen. Now, Chelsea had a disastrous season. Not a single attacking player on paper has thrived at the team. You have to give him a bit of that as well. He is up there for some of the worst expected goals differentials in the Premier League, unfortunately. And while strikers shouldn't only be judged on goals, admittedly, if we're signing more attackers, they need to be able to bring that to the club. We got 80-odd goals in the league last season. The next goal has to be, trying to get closer to 100, as well as keeping more clean sheets, in which on the goal front, I don't know if Havertz will be able to do that, people, really and truly. Apparently his Champions League goal against City was one of just 6 he has scored in the Champions League across 31 games with Chelsea, people. So we'll have to see. And he does drop, at times does drop and allow other people to vacate the space he's left. So we're going to have to see, people. He's a blank canvas. It's just going to have to work, really and truly. It's really the finishing, really, if I'm honest with you. To be fair, his record at Germany is a bit better. 13 goals in 36 games for Germany. And I've said that in a previous video. He looks like a different player then. I hope we're getting that Havertz, really and truly. So we'll have to see exactly what's happening, people. He has got a lot of qualities. In the Premier League, he ranks second for run, third for attacking runs, runs challenged in the back line. He ranks fifth. Runs targeted by a pass, which seems like stats are just being made up, but he ranks second. Total distance of runs, he ranks second. So, as I said, there is a lot to like about him, people. He spent the majority of his time up front, as you can see here, people. Since the start of the 2020-21 season, he's played 2,774 minutes up front, people. Next, you're kind of looking at these kind of roles here. I'm not too sure. And on the pitch, he does tend to go to the right-hand side a lot more. But there's a lot to like about him. Apparently, in total, he won 56% of his aerial duels last season, which is a higher success rate than Ivan Toney or Mitrovic. But is that because he's been contesting less aerial duels? I don't know, people. But draw into that what you will. Apparently, in the last 2 seasons, only 3 players have scored more headed goals in the league than Kai Havertz with 6. And that is Danny Welbeck with 7, Haaland, who's just arrived in the Prem, basically, with 7, and Spurs' Harry Kane with 14. Moving away from that, apparently Timber in April this year, and it's actually come out, people, that apparently he was holding talks with Arsenal when he came to visit England, and he was obviously spotted at the FA Cup final between City and United. In April of 2023, he said, there is a lot of concrete interest and I made agreements with Ajax last year. Ajax asked me to extend for at least 1 more season and to extend my contract. As a club boy, I did that with love, and after the season, we'll review the situation. At the Dutch national team, I often talk to the boys who play football abroad. I want to take that step someday. And obviously, in the months that followed, Arsenal placed a £30 million bid, have to get closer towards the 50-odd million that Ajax are requesting. Ornstein said positive talks between Arsenal and Ajax on the Timber front. All sides are optimistic and agreement can be reached, and I think us fans are as well. On Balogun, he said all indications are that Balogun will be sold this summer. He's out of contract in 2025. Don't forget to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts. And he does not intend to sign a new deal or go out on loan again. He wants to be first choice, ideally at Arsenal, but that is unlikely. If he is to go, he should generate a decent fee. Now, if you have seen Trossard come in, who can play as a false 9, Martinelli go from strength to strength, who can play up front as well. Jesus just basically arrived at the club, and now Kai Havertz. Could it be argued that give or take, there's about 4 to 5 players ahead of you, assuming no other attackers come in? And obviously, only, whether you're a striker, a 10, a winger, only a certain amount of attackers can start the game. Only a certain amount of attackers can be on the bench. So indirectly, it does correlate to, there is a correlation between just being an attacking player. You've also got Eddie Nketiah, who rightly or wrongly might be ahead of you in the pecking order as well. Having just become an American international, having just got 20-odd league goals, I would love for Balogun to get an opportunity. He's one of our own. But maybe, considering we're spending 60-odd on Declan Rice, maybe up to 50 million on Timber, over 100 million potentially on Rice, and any other areas that Mikel Arteta wants to, add to his squad, this could be a way of kind of clawing back some transfer funds, people. And obviously, we've given out new contracts. Balogun's stock is high. Austin Trusty at Birmingham stock is relatively high. Charlie Patino will field offers. And obviously, the Pepes, the Cedrics, the Tavares, the Lokongas, whether they leave on loan or permanently is another thing, but it appears that their days at the club are numbered. Obviously, Eddie Nketiah, Rob Holding, Kieran Tierney, allegedly Emil Smith-Rowe, even though there's rumours he'll stay. The club are open to potential offers on certain players. Throw Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka into that mix. If Arsenal sign Declan Rice, there's a good chance Partey won't be first choice in his position anymore, which probably appears, at least initially, Declan Rice will play as a 6, probably not as an 8. And as I've said, I think Declan Rice could do the John Stones stuff he's doing at City. Partey won't be first choice in his position anymore. If Partey is to leave, a replacement would be needed in addition to the pursuit of Rice. So number 6 is needed regardless of if Partey stays. Obviously, Declan Rice organically does play there. Arteta could well oversee over 200 million of expenditure this summer. Some of that will be offset by sales, as Arsenal are prepared to listen to offers for a few players. Tierney, Partey, and then one of Eddie Nketiah and Balogun, with the club eager to keep one as covering attack. It seems like Eddie is more happy to be cover. Balogun's contract is running down. We've just given Eddie a new deal. Probably that's one, although you have heard clubs are interested in potentially signing Eddie Nketiah, people. On Timber, apparently personal terms at Arsenal are not a problem. There is a 4-year and a 5-year proposal on the table, with Arsenal's preference for a commitment until 2028. Timber and his reps have a broad agreement on both contracts, people. It is certain Timber is on his way to the exit at Ajax. Sources at Ajax confirm Arsenal's opening bid was around 35 million euros, which is about 20 odd, around that, not close to the 60 million euro asking price, but as expected, both clubs will find each other and agree a fee for Timber. So we'll have to watch that one. He has his sights on Arsenal allegedly, and is only concerned with them. Timber is also of interest to Bayern Munich, but even if they were to make an offer, it is highly questionable whether the player would be open to a move. I mean, you'd be silly not to consider Bayern Munich. West Ham are insisting, basically Miguel Delaney is saying West Ham are insisting the total value of Arsenal's bid for Declan Rice must meet 100 million. Arsenal will go back in with another bid, and the feeling is they're getting closer, as Mikel Arteta wants business done and his squad set before the summer tour. This article has said Arsenal will return with a third bid for Declan Rice after seeing our second bid worth 90 million, allegedly 75 million up front with the other 15 in add-ons rejected. Once again, West Ham are holding out for 100 million. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let me know your thoughts, people. We'll return with a third offer for Declan Rice after seeing our latest bid rejected. As I've just said, the Gunners' new bid, believed to be worth 75 million in guaranteed cash with an extra 15 million in add-ons, has been turned down as the Hammers continue to hold out for a minimum of 100 million, people. Now, apparently, Gundogan next week will make a decision on his future. Apparently, he's picked Barcelona. Some reports are saying that, you know, if Gundogan doesn't stay at City, Declan Rice is the one City are going to go for, while I don't think he's a direct replacement for such people. Well-placed sources had indicated an expectation that Arsenal's second offer would be worth a minimum of 90 million plus further performance-related incentives, pushing the deal closer to 100 million. The Gunners' latest bid, as we've just said, falls short of what West Ham value him at, and we're apparently going to go in with a third bid, which you hope gets it over the line, people. Apparently, we're willing to meet the 100 million valuation. Our next offer will be closer to that mark. Apparently, he wants to join Arsenal and remains hopeful he'll be a Gunners player by the end of the month. With it being the 21st of June, hopefully we get a sell on there. The market's gone out of control. Respectfully to Fulham and João Palhinha, 90 million is crazy. We've already seen this, but apparently personal terms for Rice will be around 200 grand a week, people, if and when this gets done. And once again, we're advancing in the pursuit of Kai Havertz. Gundogan has said yes to Barcelona, but the club is working against the tide to be able to register him as soon as possible. If it's not possible in X amount of days, the player wants the freedom to make a decision on a new direction. The ball is in Barcelona's court. Once again, allegedly, Gundogan has said yes to Barcelona, people, allegedly. Apparently, Arsenal have suspended sales of the new home kit after an error on the Adidas kit, people. That's the one that, you know, the slightly more expensive one where it's got the Invincibles record of the games they played in the Premier League. Apparently they haven't, you know, they've only displayed 32 results of instead of all 38, which is crazy considering the money Adidas and Arsenal asks for these shirts and the amount of time it takes to spend and manufacture and design these shirts. How does that happen, really? Especially when it's retailing for 100 quid in this day and age. But fair enough. Hopefully Arsenal get over the line and hope in that regards, and hopefully Arsenal refund everyone who's already bought the error kit. Onana has been linked with a move to Everton. Apparently, he wants to leave them. He's been linked with Arsenal and Chelsea historically. Maybe with, you know, us not knowing what the future holds for our pursuit of Lavia, looking like we're stepping away from Caicedo. Maybe we'll see, you know, this kind of heat up because we did want him when he was at Lille, the 21-year-old, people, who would be a good option, especially if Partey was to leave. He ties into the dynamics. Obviously, he bullied us at Goodison Park last season when Arsenal played Everton away. This article has said he's on Arsenal and Chelsea's wish list, people. Apparently, they want 55 million euros for him, people. Apparently, he's no longer completely on the same wavelength as Everton, and Everton are in need of urgent cash. He could be someone that raises funds, people. Timber is only focused on a transfer to Arsenal. If Bayern Munich would still place an offer for him, a transfer would still remain a big question mark. The lack of playing time his three teammates received at Bayern Munich plays a role in this. Fair enough. Romano and Partey said he has decided to reconsider opportunities outside of Arsenal. He could be on the move this summer with Saudi clubs interested. Check out the video I did yesterday because David Ornstein also dropped an exclusive on Thomas Partey, people. Sam Lee, someone who's a correspondent for The Athletic with Manchester City, has spoken on their pursuit of Declan Rice. City do want him, but it would be a replacement for Gundogan, and right now Gundogan has not decided on his future. City would also explore offering Calvin Phillips as part of any deal for Rice, which adds its own complexities. Phillips wants to stay, and in the meantime, other clubs are making headway. For those asking, that gives an idea on Lavia. Right now, he's not in the thinking. As you know, they have a buyback clause valid from next season for the Southampton man. We're to submit a second bid for Declan Rice. In fact, that's old news now because we're to submit a third offer, really. We're in advanced talks to sign Lavia, allegedly. Obviously, we're getting closer to Kai Havertz. Balogun doesn't want to go on loan again. Lavia, allegedly, is a priority after the Declan Rice deal. Trying to find anything that isn't them. We've been linked with Timothy Cassandre, which it looks like he's getting Juventus, and hopefully we get Timber over the line. Balogun is wanted by Inter Milan. We are moving closer to getting Saliba over the line with a new deal, and that's expected to be done once he comes back from his holidays. we've called our interest on Caicedo. As stated, Partey's been linked with an exit. So you'll be hard pushed to find anything away from that. But as I said, let me know your thoughts. Comment, like, subscribe, follow on Kick, on Twitch and on YouTube, Deluded Gooner and anything. Check out the playlist, people, where I've put all of the news and things like that. Make sure you've got your notifications, because as much as I enjoy transfer news and things, football is deeper than that. So I think it's time to explore transfers of other clubs and other talking points in relation to Arsenal. So on that note, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Let me know your thoughts. I'm out.
He always used that active red flag, defending.
I think it's like